President Cyril Ramaphosa successfully making a case to interdict his predecessor.
Absolutely, and that interdict has been granted pending the hearing into Part B of this matter, which is basically going to be seeking to dismiss the summons that were issued against President Cyril Ramaphosa on the 15th of December last year. The Deputy Judge, President Ronald Sutherland, ordering the representatives of all the legal teams to meet with him so that they can deal with the case management. Let's bring in then Mzwanele Manyi, who speaks for the Jacob Zuma Foundation, and he seems to be on the phone, perhaps getting how you're going to respond to this, okay. Mr. Manyi. You're live on Newzroom Afrika. Your initial reaction to this? There's still another leg to this court matter.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
It's good morning.
Is it good morning? Yeah, confusing. Yeah, good morning, everyone. So I think first thing is that the suspicions of the foundations have been vindicated in that the fact that we had an all-of-a-sudden panel, which was not requested by any party, would raise the suspicion that something is not looking right. And this, what has happened today is first and foremost a confirmation of that. That's the first point. Second point to make really is that we're very, it's actually quite confusing what the judge was saying here. Because what the judge has now done, he has said a court is a court is a court is a court. And when we all know that a civil court has got a different standard and a criminal court has got a different standard, and that standard is a simple one. In a civil court, the standard, like this one which was a motion court, a civil court, a standard is purely balance of probabilities. Whereas in a criminal court, the standard is beyond reasonable doubt and all of that. So for him to say a court is a court is a court is very suspicious, firstly. Secondly, the issues about the rights. Everybody's rights are not absolute. The only right that is absolute is the right to life. So for the judge to come here and pretend that the rights that he's talking about are rights that are absolute is also another very suspicious issue. So indeed, we are not happy with this. It doesn't look like justice has been served. But the bottom line, though, is that President Ramaphosa continues to be a charged person. The date of 19th September, or whether case management or whatever, will be discussed. But all of that simply means that the case still stands and continues to be a charged person. And the case continues. We'll see how it develops.
Mr. Manyi, in fact, the Deputy Judge, President Sutherland, actually dealt with the issue of, a civil court and a criminal court, to saying it's just a matter of the way they organize themselves as a structure. However, also, there's also the matter of there's still going to be Part B, which is going to be argued, which is going to deal with the dismissing of the summons, which would then respond to what you're saying about, separating matters, because they were saying that they cannot make a pronouncement on the merits of the case without having dealt with Part B.
No, but it's what I just said to you. We're challenging that. I think then the DJP Sutherland must also explain why is it that when it's a criminal court they wear red robes. Why is that significant? Why don't just continue with black robes? If a court is a court is a court. I mean, really, that assertion by DJP is really unfounded. It's really unfounded. It's not supported by the facts. Why do you have a black robe on a civil court and a red robe on a criminal court? If a court is a court is a court. So clearly, I think the lawyers will look into that. But me sitting here as a non-lawyer, I think the judge has misdirected himself. Yeah. So we'll see what happens, whether it's case management, whether it's the 19th, the lawyers will look into the matter, and this is just a knee-jerk reaction, so the lawyers will advise accordingly. But as I sit here and now, I think this has been a travesty of justice. It means that the people of South Africa that continue to go to, it means there's a law for the elite. The elite can decide that I don't want to go to court, and the courts can agree that no, you don't have to go to court, even though your matter can be dealt with in court. So it means the only people that must go to court and suffer the court indignation are poor people. This means justice is justice for the rich This means there's no justice for the poor. This is a very shocking decision that we've heard today.
All right, so that's Mzwanele Manyi. He speaks for the Jacob Zuma Foundation, saying at an initial level this is a travesty of justice, but the issues are going to be dealt with. Like I mentioned, the legal representatives will have to meet with the Deputy Judge President, that's Ronald Sutherland himself, to discuss the case management, how the matter will be dealt with going forward, because as I've mentioned, there's Part B, which will be dealing in particular with the dismissal of the issuing of summons, and in that as well, Goli, it will deal then with the merits of the nollie prosecute certificate. In fact, DJP Sutherland also speaking about that, to say that the NPA and the KZN DPP will have to respond to the wording of this nollie prosecute certificate. Is it vague? How is it supposed to be interpreted? Does this extend to President Cyril Ramaphosa? And whether or not then, the president can be deemed as an accessory after the fact.
Ziyanda Ngcobo, thank you very much for that update for us. And you've heard the spokesperson of the Jacob Zuma Foundation.